It's like candy corn falling from the freaking ceiling. It's so corny. It's so cheesy. It's like at Olive Garden where he's just got the cheese grater out. He's just going and going and going and going at it. Hey guys, it's Brant from In My Head, and I'm back with another Track versus Track, the panel has spoken video. Got my good friend Matthew Smith from MD Smith Comics with me. How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a little while.
It has been a while, and it's good to have you back on the show for a video. And it's kind of funny that you just happened to be on the video today because I got a package the other day. And my dear friend here emailed me or texted me and said, hey, I saw these in a Walmart and I just didn't want to leave them hanging. And I bought me one. And, you know, what size are you? I'll buy you one and I'll send it to you. And I just happened to be the size that he had extra of. And he sent it to me. So I really appreciate you doing that, sending it to me.
Absolutely.
And I figured I'd open it up here on camera and before we get started. And it is Kiss relevant.
I was actually going to write you and ask you if you had gotten it yet. I didn't think about you doing it on camera.
Yeah. We got goodies falling out of here. Let's see. Let me make sure nothing else. I don't know if you guys do this. Am I the only person that does this? You can answer down in the comments. Am I the only person that when you buy an album in a store or you order one that's used online, a Kiss album, that you open it up and look down inside of it to see if there's any extra goodies after you take all the sleeve out? I know that Absolutely. some people have talked online about how they found drawings from people, especially Kiss albums, drawings inside of it from people that owned the albums previously and other things inside of it. So, but yeah, man, he told me this and I was like, yeah, dude, send it. Wow, I didn't know it had stuff on the back. So it basically looks like this on the back. And on the front, it looks like this. Let me get all that in there.
Couldn't pass it up.
No, can't pass that up. And that goes right along with my Kiss.
It does.
My Kiss on Tour, Kiss World Tour 77 goes right along with that. So yeah, man. So you'll definitely be seeing this in a video soon. I need to get me more shirts. My wife always says, you know, you need to buy you more shirts, and I do. And he said, it's that's weird how that did that.
Oh yeah, it's like green screened it.
see, it's green screen, and isn't that a trip? Look at that. It's green, and it's green screening whatever is on my green screen. That is a trip, Matthew. You let me discover something that my thing. Check that out.
I broke YouTube. That's it.
You broke YouTube. Well, it's in a green package, y'all. I can't show you. I wonder if your note will green screen too. Let's see. The note green screens too. It's a green note. It says, here's some extra goodies, Matthew. And let's see what we got in here. See if they're green and they green screen too. Let's see. Oh, man. Oh, you sent me all kinds of goodies. Let's see what we got here. Hopefully these will show up and not green screen on me.
Yeah, right.
That's his hair's green screening just a little.
It is a little bit.
It's trying to. That's the kind of a yellow green on his hair. That's awesome. Now you've designed these, right? These are your designs.
Yeah, that's the first one's the Hall & Oates Kiss mashup I did. The second one
your Kiss is on my list.
Yeah.
Now what is this one?
That's Amazing Age, my superhero comic that I wrote, and all the characters in there are characters I made up when I was a kid.
Okay. And so this is Amazing Age also?
Yeah, that's all the main characters there with the logo.
All right. And then we got Phantom 79.
That's a new horror comic that I'm writing with my fiance Casey, and it's set in 1979. And actually, it's got a lot of Kiss references in it. But Phantom obviously will tip you off on that.
His head's going green screen. That's crazy.
A zombie from our horror comic called Monsters Unemployed.
All right.
It's about a group of horror movie monsters that get fired from the production company.
Yeah.
He's green screen though.
I'm sorry. They're green screening. Use a lot of green. She's not quite green screening, not so much.
Yeah, that's the bride.
These are like trading cards. Yeah, it's got stuff on the back.
Yeah,
these are like trading cards.
Yeah,
nice thick stock.
That's the alien, and
the background. The background is yellow.
Yeah.
So any solid color, apparently, it's going to try to green screen on me.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Because that's green. So it really does that. Hold on a second. Let me see. Let me see if I can turn that off. I don't even know how that would get turned off. Let me see.
It was like a couch in the background and everything.
I know. That is so weird. That should be no green screen now. So let's see what happens now. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right, let's go back through them really quick.
All right, there's the bride. That's from Monsters Unemployed. Yeah, all these trading cards are Monsters Unemployed. The zombie.
And then a little zombie here.
Yeah, same zombie there with the sticker.
And then these all came up okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And there's the Hall & Oates without the green screened hair.
Right.
And this is the other Monsters Unemployed one.
The Chinese hopping ghost, yeah.
Yep. And here's the package.
Yeah.
with the note. With the note.
Very
so man, thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. So let's get into what we're here for. And if you want to send me stuff, send it to me. I will show it off. I'll even have you, if you want to be in the video, I'll have you in the video showing your stuff off. So my P.O. box is in my description on my YouTube channel. So you can find that there. It's on my webpage too. So today we have the Psycho Circus. And I have that. Rick from It's All For You Demon is so jealous. He's so jelly of my sealed Psycho Circus that has the illusion on the front and the back. Get my monitor out of the way there. And going up against Sonic Boom from Sonic Boom, as my boy Kimchi Chris says. Sonic Boom.
Every time I hear Sonic Boom, I think of him.
Yeah, I hear his voice. Sonic Boom. There's the CD upside down. Oops, and my Live from Rio de Janeiro popped out. And there's Gene and Tommy. Let me be sure not to step on that. From Buenos Aires, not Rio. All right, so we did it a new way today for this one. And I also used the free version of SurveyMonkey whenever we did this one. So you weren't able to put your name in. You had to come back to the post and say, hey, I did it. A lot of people didn't do that. We actually had 58 on this panel, but I only know 34 of you. We had 24 unknowns. So if you were on this panel and your name is not mentioned, comment down in the comments that, hey, you were on it, that you put in, because I want you guys to be known as members of the panel. And I actually paid for SurveyMonkey. I went ahead and paid for it for a year. It wasn't cheap. But I went ahead and paid for it for a year, and it gave me the option to have, if you've done the Ace Frehley, survey, you have the option at the bottom. It's actually a requirement for you to put your name before you can finish the survey. So that way I know who you are. All right. But we will tell who we do know. Out of the 58, we have 34 names: Les Wadley, Emily Graziano, Sucker Royal, Jano Swab, Rick from It's All For You Demon, John B. Good, Roger Bennett, Dark Light, Joel Pegg, Jeremy Kimona, John O, Toy Bonnie Guy, Raw Barber, George Gotta, Mick Watkins, Brian Foster, Aladio, Steve Hardy, David King, Darren Helliwell, Bill Sharp, Tom Tobin, Solar Garlic, Sublime 130, Jesse Ray, Chuck N, Superkiss 1300, Matt Ucci, Justin Churchy Hansen, Dylan Tucker, AJ Zetro 1975, Eric Doyle Rosh, Matthew Smith, and myself, Brant from In My Head. So usually when we get started, we talk about what we think about these albums, where we were when they came out, what our impressions are, and then we give a prediction of which one we think is going to win. So I always let my guests go first. So Matthew, starting with you, impressions and what you think about these two albums without giving too much away. What's your, do you love them? Do you hate them? Is there one you like more than the other? Just kind of general overall thoughts.
Yeah. Well, Psycho Circus, actually, Brant, you're from the South. You're in North Carolina. I'm in Georgia. You probably remember. You remember Media Play stores?
Mm-hmm.
I used to work in a Media Play, and actually I worked in a Media Play when Psycho Circus came out. So, of course, we had tons of Kiss merchandise, because you got to think right around then was, the reunion tour was big, and they had all the Kiss figures were coming out through McFarlane Toys, and all, tons of Kiss merchandise. So it was great with my employee discount, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I was really excited for Psycho Circus to come out. And I can't think of anything else to say except I was severely disappointed when it came out. It was not what I was expecting. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. It just wasn't, it didn't click with me. I was wanting it to. I was really wanting it to. And, of course, the first thing I saw was that 3D video they did for Psycho Circus. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was the cheesiest thing ever with the whole 3D. Everything was like very exaggerated, And, I can't say that I hate the album, because there are songs on it I definitely like, but it's definitely in the bottom tier of my Kiss albums, unfortunately, And so based on that, when Sonic Boom came out, of course it had been, it'd been like 10 years or more, between those two albums. So regardless to say, I wasn't really looking forward to Sonic Boom. The pessimist in me was getting the best of me. So I didn't really even hear anything from it except Modern Day Delilah, for the longest time. And then when I finally listened to the whole thing, I was like, well, this is not too bad. It would surprise me. Because it probably surprised me, because looking back on it now, I had high hopes for Psycho Circus and I was let down. I had low hopes for Sonic Boom and I was impressed. So based on that, the albums are probably kind of equal with me at this point. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the older I've gotten and the more I've listened to it, the more I actually do like Sonic Boom. And I didn't feel like it was forced as much as Psycho Circus was. I felt like a lot of Psycho Circus was forced, trying to recapture what they had. And I know they're still trying to capture what they had with Sonic Boom, but I don't know. I guess it felt a little more organic than Psycho Circus did. And, this is coming from me because I really loved Revenge and I loved Carnival of Souls. I know you like Carnival of Souls too,
mm-hmm.
And I was kind of let down when they went back to or trying to go back to whatever they were before. And I liked the direction they were going in at that point,
Me too.
I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people felt like they were kind of, just going with what was popular at the time. But I felt like they kind of, the transition into that was kind of seamless over the years, like through the 80s, early 90s, late 90s. And I liked what we got. And I was a little butthurt that we weren't getting that anymore as well, Mm-hmm. But that's my thoughts on it. What about you?
Man, it's funny. Okay, here's our parallels. You worked at Media Play. I worked at Media Play.
Oh, really?
I was actually a manager at a Media Play in Hickory before it got bought out by Best Buy and then got shut down.
Yep.
But I was working at Walmart part-time whenever Sonic Boom came out. And I remember seeing, we didn't have quite the Kiss area that we were supposed to have. but we had a lot of CDs. We had a lot of vinyl. And it's funny because you see all this colored vinyl for Sonic Boom right now that is ridiculous online because they didn't print a whole lot of it, and people want $400 or $500 for this, 4 different colors of vinyl, $400 each. And I remember working at the Walmart, it's what we call it in the South. But I remember seeing these CDs and albums just stacked and stacked and stacked. And if I would have known now, if I could go back in a time machine, I would come in with my Walmart discount and I would buy every dang one of those color albums, and I'd be selling them for premium on eBay right now.
Exactly.
So I definitely kind of checked out of Kiss again after the reunion and after the farewell, and they weren't really on my radar. And I remember when Sonic Boom came out, I was like, the last thing I want is an album with Kiss with makeup on, with these guys, these cosplayers, and some people call them scabs. I call them cosplayers. I try to be original, but I'm like you. I liked the direction of Revenge and of Carnival of Souls, two of my favorite Kiss albums in the catalog, up there with some of the 70s makeup albums. And I just wish, they saw an opportunity to get rich off of the fans by getting back together and doing the reunion tour, doing the Psycho Circus tour, doing the farewell tour, and all the Spencers. This was the Spencers era, and Psycho Circus was so heavily promoted. And when they got done, whenever the farewell tour was over, to me, they should have took the makeup off, kicked Tommy Thayer, put him back to washing and painting Gene and Paul's houses, and kept Eric and brought back Bruce and started where they left off with the kick-ass. Whether you agree with the musical direction of Carnival of Souls or not, the musicianship on that album is freaking phenomenal. And that to me is, other than, and I've said this before and it's been controversial, but other than the original lineup of Ace, Gene, Paul, and Peter, my second favorite lineup of Kiss, and no disrespect to Eric Carr whatsoever, because Eric Carr was a phenomenal drummer, but they were doing stuff that wasn't really my cup of tea for a large part of the 80s. But the stuff that Bruce and Eric brought to the table for Revenge and for Carnival of Souls was freaking amazing. They brought the musical level of Kiss so far up.
I totally agree. I mean, listen to Bruce's guitar work on Carnival of Souls. That, I feel like that's his best guitar work throughout Kiss. Really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's amazing. And they finally let him sing a song, which they should have done a long time ago, I feel like, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and I mean, I thought at first, because I know a lot of people didn't like it, I was like, well, I'm a little younger than some, of the modern Kiss fans, because I was a teenager in the 90s. So I was listening to stuff like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, stuff like that. And this music had similar sounds to some of that stuff, especially Alice in Chains. I mean, but I'm still of the group that Alice in Chains is more, metal to me than alternative, definitely. So, I totally agree with what you're saying about they had reached a great level at that point, and I've said before too, and I said it to you and Rick, I think in a video before, but like, I was always curious what they would have done with the reunion tour if Eric Carr was still alive, how they would have handled that. Because I feel like bumping him out of the band at that point, after he'd been in the band for 16, 17 years, really would have been a slap in the face. And I would have hated it for him, because, how everything you've heard and read about Eric Carr, man, he loved being in Kiss. He loved the fans and everything. And I'm sure he would have been heartbroken if they just dumped him like that. You know what I'm saying? But,
I think if he would have been sick but not passed, they probably would have retired him. They
Absolutely.
probably would have given him a nice little severance package and let him continue to draw royalties, and maybe I would think that they would be good enough to him to let him continue to make money off of the band.
Kind of
Because
like they've
Pete,
done with Styx.
yeah,
Like, you know, I believe it's the drummer in Styx. Is maybe I'm not, maybe I'm mistaken about which member, but one of
mhm,
them. No, it's the bass player. It's Chuck, the bass player. He's been sick. He's still a member. He doesn't record with them. He'll show up on stage and do a few songs with them. But they have another guy that's been playing bass with them for the past like 15 years or more. You
mhm.
know, but Chuck is still a member of Styx. He's just not, doesn't have an active role because he does have a lot of medical issues, you know.
Right,
So
right. Well, even Peter and Ace drew money off of Kiss until for a while.
yeah.
Well, I don't think Peter gets any money off of Kiss anymore because he sold his basically he sold his rights away.
Yeah.
I know it's a topic of contention, but I don't think Ace sold quite all his rights away. Ace was a little bit more astute businessman, I think, than Peter was, and I think at both point in time they both had bad lawyers to give them advice.
Probably so.
If I had been a member of Kiss, I don't care if I would have just recorded with them for one album. I would never sell away any right that I had to anything related, because that would be continuous money coming in until the day that you died. Um, but getting back to Psycho Circus and Sonic Boom, I'm kind of like you. I was really looking forward to Psycho Circus, and then when it came out, I was let down. And I don't remember if it was immediate that we knew it wasn't everybody performing on the album or not. But I just remember feeling kind of like exactly the way that you said, where I just felt like it was a product. It wasn't an album. It was a product. It was a marketing tool, basically to push the tour, to push the merchandise. They pushed merchandise before it. They pushed merchandise after it. And so, to me, the Psycho Circus album is no different than my stack of Don Russ Kiss cards sitting back there. It's a
Right.
piece of merchandise that they made. And some people could argue, well, that's how all of Kiss's stuff is since they started putting stickers and tattoos and all that stuff in it. No, the stuff in it was merchandise and promotional type stuff, but the music on those albums was still top notch. And the production value on those albums was still top notch. And even though Psycho Circus is too, you can just tell, like you said. Now, when it comes to Sonic Boom, whenever I eventually did buy Sonic Boom, I chose to listen with my ears and not with my eyes. And so I tried to say, okay, this is Kiss. I'm going to pretend that they don't have on makeup, and I'm going to pretend that this is Kiss putting a album out, because they did, like you said, they did put forth effort. They tried to record it as old school as possible, using old analog equipment and marrying it with digital equipment. They tried to go back to older sounds. There's some songs that sound like throwbacks to not only their albums, but other people's albums and other people's sounds that we'll talk about as we get on into the album. But these albums are, for me, I'm kind of like you. They're about tied. I really like songs on a bunch of these albums, a bunch of songs on these albums. And there's songs that I don't care for on both of the albums. But you may be surprised to find the one that I pick more of my favorite songs off of. You may be surprised by the time we get to the end of this. But my prediction, I don't think you gave yours, but I think because of people have such a stigma towards Tommy and Eric, especially old school people, and even some of the newer people, I think that Psycho Circus is going to slay on this one. I think it's going to win hands down, probably 6-4, if not 7-3, 8-2, maybe.
Right.
But I think it's going to slay. I think there's only a couple songs on Psycho Circus that are not going to win because people don't like them.
I agree. And I thought the same thing when making my prediction. I feel like Psycho Circus will win because, not because it's a better album, but because Ace and Peter are there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Tommy and Eric, it's Ace and Peter. And I feel like that vote will be swayed a little bit. But if you really like listen to the music as a whole, you know, it's a little different. But I think that's going to sway the vote, and more people would lean towards Psycho Circus than Sonic Boom. And so my prediction was that Psycho Circus will be the victor here.
Yeah. Yeah, because Ace and Peter on Psycho Circus are there, but they're
Right.
not really there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more people there's more ghost musicians on Psycho Circus than probably any other Kiss album ever made. At least this album is those four guys.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I mean, for the most part, you know, as far as we know.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's go ahead and get into these 11 tracks, and we're going to start with track predictions for track number 1. It's Psycho Circus going up against Modern Day Delilah. What's your prediction?
My prediction was Psycho Circus would win here. I mean, that was a big hit for them back then. Obviously, that was the first video they did of the 4 members back together. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's still pretty much played in concert today for the most part. I think, you know, it's still something that the band holds in high regard, and I think a lot of people do like it. So my prediction was that would be the victor here.
Okay. Yeah, my prediction's Psycho Circus also. But this was, this was a heck of a one out of the gate, because you have Psycho Circus plus Modern Day Delilah that they made a video for as well. So it's like kind of like 2 releases against each other.
Sure.
But my prediction was Psycho Circus as well. The loser of track 1, that's what I'm just going to start saying. I don't like saying coming in at number 2. The loser of track 1, with 10 points, is Modern Day Delilah. The winner with 48 points, Psycho Circus. And my pick for this is Psycho Circus. It was an easy pick for me. Modern Day Delilah is not one of my favorite songs off of Sonic Boom, and I remember it was one of those. It was a song that left a kind of a bad taste in my mouth from the very beginning. It starts off and the music sounds great. It has a real definite 70s throwback, like Love Gun rock and roll era. Like they were really trying to capture that sound for themselves. And Paul has that little attitude where he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting into this. And then he starts off that opening line when he hits that word, across the room. And I'm like, oh, Paul, no. And then he does that scream at the end of it, that forced scream.
Yeah.
Man, I was just like, okay, Paul, I can already tell right now, you are not going to be my favorite person singing on this album. Let's hope Gene still sounds good. So yeah, for me, it's Psycho Circus. It was an easy one for me on this one. What about you?
I didn't take the forced scream into consideration. I probably should have. But no, I was one of the 10 who picked Modern Day Delilah. And it was close. It was very close, because both, I feel like, are very strong album openers. And like you said, both were singles. Both they were trying to, like, you know, come out of the gate with something really, you know, to grab people with. And I felt like both of them did. I feel like maybe what swayed my decision here was 2 things. It was, like I said, that ridiculous video for Psycho Circus. It really might have swayed my decision. But also the fact that, like I said, I was expecting very little from Sonic Boom. And when it opened up with Modern Day Delilah, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. It took me by surprise. So I think that's maybe why it inched a little bit higher in my book. Don't get me wrong, I do like the song Psycho Circus, and it was right there neck and neck, but I gave Modern Day Delilah a little bit more. So that's what I picked. Okay.
All right. So that puts Psycho Circus at 1, Sonic Boom 0. That takes us to track number 2. Within off of Psycho Circus versus Russian Roulette off of Sonic Boom. What's your prediction?
both are, in my opinion, are really good song. I like both of them, a lot. My prediction was Within, because I felt like that was a little bit of a stronger Gene song, and it had a little bit more of that demon feel, and I think people will, gravitate more towards. So that was my prediction Within.
Yeah. My prediction Within also for the same reason. The opening track, we had Paul versus Paul. Now we got Gene versus Gene. And Within, it's almost like God of Thunder, capturing light, trying to capture lightning in the bottle for the third time.
Yep.
And the funny thing about Within was I've got some notes here. The funny thing about Within is it was actually a leftover from Carnival of Souls. So I was just sitting here thinking as I was listening to it the other day, and I'm like, man, this has just a nasty, dirty sound to it. And it was left over from Carnival of Souls. And Bruce Kulick plays the background solo at the beginning of it. He originally did the demo for Carnival of Souls, and they just pulled that from the demo rather than have Bruce or Tommy re-record it. And so Within, I was like, man, that's why I like that song so much, because it was written for an album that I freaking love. So, but I think Russian Roulette, I think Within was going to win against Russian Roulette. So what the loser got, 12 points. Loser scored 12 points. Loser, Russian Roulette. Winner, Within, with 46 points. And my personal pick, this was a hard one because I love both of these songs. I love Gene on both of these albums. I like Gene on one of these albums more than I like Gene on the other. And I'll talk about that later as we get further down. You'll probably get a sense of it as we go. But my pick on this, even though it was hard, and I love both of these, and I'm going to go against the grain of the rest of you here for a second, but freaking Russian Roulette is my pick between these, because when I listen to these songs side by side, I like Within, I like it, and it's like it's heavy and just nasty. But Russian Roulette just makes me smile, and I like the song more than I like Within. So shoot me if you want. You can't take away my Kiss Army card because it's just my opinion and what I like. But for me, Russian Roulette's the winner of track 2 for me. What about you?
Well, I did pick Within, and everything that you've said, I pretty much agree with. Like you can really hear that it was from that, Carnival of Souls era, but you can also hear some of that old demon in there as well. I love the song, but I do like Russian Roulette a lot too. And for all the reasons that you said, like it does make me happy. It's a good classic kind of Gene song in my opinion. So this was another one that was hard to pick because just like, Psycho Circus and Modern Day Delilah, they were right there neck and neck, and I had to one of them had to inch a little higher. And I think Within did it for me because of that Carnival of Souls kind of like in the back of my head and how much I like that. And that's why I gave it the edge. But don't get me wrong, I love Russian Roulette. And that's probably one of my favorite songs from that Sonic Boom album, honestly. So, but there you go. Within was mine.
All right. So that brings Psycho Circus 2, Sonic Boom 0. Track number 3, we're going to have I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll, one of the longest titles ever, against Never Enough from Sonic Boom. So what's your prediction on this one?
This was a tough one to predict, honestly, but I lean towards I Pledge Allegiance for the prediction just because of the whole Psycho Circus, Ace and Peter being there. Both of them are, are kind of anthem type songs a little bit, but I felt like more people might lean towards I Pledge Allegiance.
Okay. All right. I predicted I Pledge Allegiance also, just because I know that Never Enough gets a lot of hate. And so I predicted Pledge of Allegiance. Coming in second with 14 points is Never Enough. So I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll wins track 3 with 44 points. My pick, this was a hard one for me as well because I love, and I've got love in capital. I love both songs. I even love Never Enough, even though it sounds like Nothing But a Good Time from Poison.
Yeah.
But I love Never Enough. And so both of these songs are just, to me, are just fist pumpers.
Yep.
And this came down to the wire. This is my hard ones. The ones I say are hard. They came down to the wire. Me just listening and then being like, at the end of the day, if somebody walked up to me and said, you can hear this song or you can hear this song, which one do you want to hear? I went with the song that I said I'd want to hear. So that is 2 off of Sonic Boom for me personally. So I go with my track 3 is Never Enough. What about you?
I'm right there with you. Mine was Never Enough as well. I mean, yeah,
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It sounds like a total rip. I mean, there's no disputing. It's a total rip off of Poison. It totally is. I mean, you can't listen to that song and then listen to Nothing But a Good Time and tell me they didn't rip that off completely. And Poison loves Kiss, so Poison probably was like, fuck it, that's fine. We're fine with that. But that song is it's fun. It's just a fun song. And I wish that was something they performed live and everything. I like the song a lot. I Pledge Allegiance. I like that song too. It's not terrible or anything, but Never Enough. That is. I mean, I'm just glancing at my list here and everything, but that's in my top 3 songs from this album. Yeah, it's a ripoff, but it's great. I love it. It takes me back. It feels like, a little bit of everything. It feels like 80s Kiss. It feels like current Kiss. It's just a really good modern Kiss song that has a throwback feel, but a throwback to 80s, which they don't do a whole lot. If they try to throw back, they try to throw back to, 79 or earlier. But this feels like, maybe because of the Poison kind of sound, but this sounds like, oh, this is like Crazy Nights kind of, or Hot in the Shade.
Oh, yeah, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade. Yeah, it could have been all over Crazy Nights or Hot in the Shade.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I like it. Never Enough was my pick. I enjoy it. No shame.
All right. No shame in my game either. And, we're all free to like what we want to like. All right. But the panel did pick Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. So that brings us 3-0. That brings us up to track 4, Into the Void against Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. Ace versus Gene.
Yeah. Deviating a little here. My prediction here was I did pick Into the Void. Mainly because I know how much, people love Ace and people do love this song. And this was like, I think this is one of the only songs that Ace performed on, It
was all 4 members. It was was all 4 members. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's gonna kind of take the cake there, So that was my prediction.
Okay. I predicted Into the Void too because Ace, and it's hard to go against Ace.
It is.
And this was a pretty decisive win. Coming in as the loser with 9 points. The loser was Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. Into the Void won with 49 votes. And this was a hard one for me, believe it or not. This was hard because I love both of these songs. And the song that edged out for me and ended up winning was Gene Simmons' Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. And the reason why it won is because, one, it's a fun song. Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. I love how Gene just kind of puffs himself up in this song. And I love that he has the little spoken thing he does, kind of like at the beginning of Family Jewels. That's what it's like to be me. Yeah, and I love when Gene is characterizing himself and he's being very pompous and boisterous about it. That's the Gene I love. I love that Gene probably just as much as Demon Gene. And that is, to me, is non-makeup Gene, as
Yes.
that Family Jewels Gene. And it is captured perfectly on Yes I Know. And it sounds like it could have come off of Rock and Roll Over. It has that rockabilly dun sound to it. And I love the no, 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 nobody's perfect. Mama, maybe. I love how he does the stuttering.
Mhm.
And maybe you should take off your clothes, mama. Ow. I love it. Has so many fun aspects to it. And it reminds me so much of Old Kiss. It has a little cowbell in it and stuff. And it's just a simple rock and roll song. Into the Void. Into the Void is an Ace Frehley song. And it has that, just starts off with that. And that just, those heavy drums that just sound so awesome. And Peter sounding so good. And Ace sounding so good when he starts singing. How he was doing all his signature things, holding the long notes while he's singing, kind of like Shock Me, kind of almost was like a Shock Me song to me. He would hold a note while he was singing, and then in between singing, he would do his riff. He does the same thing on Shock Me. The part of Into the Void that killed it for me and knocked it down to me choosing Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect over it is the chorus. I'm not a big fan of the Into the Void, I gotta get away, get away. It's just kind of droning to me, and it just kind of, I like the verses better than I do the chorus. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, but for me, Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect. And I had a little note about here about Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect. This was actually a demo. It was an Asylum era song that Gene recycled and reworked for Sonic Boom. So that's kind of cool. It's from, and I love the Asylum area, the Asylum era coming off of Animalized Asylum. That's really cool. It was after Asylum that they started losing me with Crazy Nights and Hot in the Shade back in the day, which I love those albums now, but they kind of lost me with those albums. And but yeah, so Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect for me. What about for you?
I had no idea about that, like Asylum era. That makes sense. Now when you hear the song, listen to it, because like you were saying, it's that Gene. It's not the Demon Gene, but it feels like that '80s era Gene. And the Gene that you would see in Family Jewels and all that stuff. But yeah, my pick though was Into the Void. It's and I love Yes I Know for all the reasons that you said. I agree totally with you. But in this case, Ace, won it for me because I do drink the blue Kool-Aid at times, as you say, and this was it for me because this feels like, I felt like Into the Void could have been something from his solo album, possibly, and so that kind of hit and resonated with me. So that's merely the only reason why I picked it over Yes I Know, because I like both songs, but In the Void won it for me.
All right. So In the Void won it for the panel. That brings us to 4-0. And so that brings us to track number 5. And that is We Are One against Stand. So we got Gene versus Gene and Paul.
Yeah. Well, my prediction there was I picked Stand. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to reveal too much, but I'll just say that was my prediction, and I'll go into more when we talk about it.
Okay. I predicted We Are One just because Kiss has promoted that song a lot in the last few years. Right. And that kind of seems to be their mantra now is We Are One as fans and Kiss family and Kiss Army. And I think once again, it was a song that was written to kind of, hey, look, we're all back together. We love each other. We're going to quit bickering so we can make some money because we are one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my prediction. What the panel chose, the song that lost with 16 points is Stand. So the panel chose We Are One with 42 points. My pick was easy. This was an easy pick for me. Stand all the way. Stand. I'm not a fan of We Are the One at all.
No.
I don't. The We Are the One. We Are One to me is just it. We should be sitting around the damn campfire singing "Kumbaya." We are one, and it's a Gene song, and it should have been a Paul song. I mean,
Yes.
I don't,
Yes.
but Stand, the Gene and vocal trade offs, it's like, oh, and it has that old '70s sound, and it has such a positive message. I love the breakdown where you hear that all four guys in Kiss in the current incarnation of Kiss can sing, and they can harmonize really good together. I give them that. And so to me, man, Stand is my pick. What about you?
I'm right there with you. I mean, Stand is my favorite song off of Sonic Boom. And for all the reasons that you said, it's a true anthem. I don't know. That should be a staple Kiss song, I feel like, because that song is so good. And it feels more like what they were trying to accomplish with We Are One than We Are One does.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the fact that they use that so much now, because that song, in my opinion, I'm sorry if anybody, for the 40 whatever people that liked it, but We Are What, I hate that song. It does not sound like a Kiss song. It sounds ridiculous with Gene singing it. You're right. It should have been Paul or maybe even somebody else singing it, but that's not the right song for Gene to sing at all. It just doesn't sound right, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of it. Like if I'm listening to Psycho Circus, I'm gonna skip it. It's very cheesy, and for me to say it's cheesy in the realm of Kiss when they've done some cheesy stuff at times, that means a lot.
That is true. That is true. This is the same band that brought us Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park and the Caskets. So yeah, they've done some cheesy things. All right, but the panel spoke and they chose We Are One, and so that brings Psycho Circus to 5, Sonic Boom to 0. Moving on to track 6, you have You Wanted the Best against Hot and Cold. So we have Kiss, since they all four sang on this song, they didn't all four play on it. That just shows how screwed up Sonic Boom was.
Yeah.
They all sang on it. You Wanted the Best against Hot and Cold. So it's Kiss versus Gene.
Right. I predicted Hot and Cold would win. And again, I'll go into detail about this. Maybe it was more me hoping than actual true prediction, but go ahead with yours.
All right. I predict You Wanted the Best, just because Kiss people love Psycho Circus and they hate Sonic Boom. So that's why I predicted You Wanted the Best. What the panel chose, the loser is with 14 points, was Hot and Cold. The winner, You Wanted the Best, with 44 points. My pick on this, and this was an easy one for me, is I chose Hot and Cold over You Wanted the Best, and here's why. The Hot and Cold was a demo that Gene used against. It was a previous demo. I think it's that floating around out there called Rotten to the Core. He used some lyrics inside from that song in Hot and Cold. It's not really the same song. He just patchwork Gene took some lyrics out of this and put it in another song. But the reason why I don't really like You Wanted the Best, it was an old song too. It started in 1977 as a song called Just Give Me Love. And then it finally appeared on Psycho Circus with massive reworks and all four members singing the song. But the reason why I don't really care for You Wanted the Best is I didn't like it. I don't like it even more now, knowing that even though Peter's singing on the album, Kevin Valentine's playing the drums on it. And it's even rumored that Tommy Thayer did the solo for it, and it wasn't Ace. And even though it sounds like Ace, it's just more of Kiss being the odds behind the curtain and pulling the wool over our eyes. And that was later. But the thing that I really didn't like about this song is they say during the chorus, you wanted the best, then you've got the best, which is their tagline from the very beginning that started, Kiss. That we hear it at the beginning of every Kiss show. We hear it at the beginning of Alive. We hear it at the beginning of Alive 2. And then what do? What does these dysfunctional 4 grown men do? Then this is a Brant's rant. I'm gonna probably put it across the bottom. This is probably the song I have the biggest problem with on Psycho Circus. Is they take a song that is their mantra, their motto, their mission. You wanted the best, you got the best, and they surround it with lyrics about them airing their dirty laundry, bitching each other out. Don't do me favors. Don't do this. Don't do that. And it's like, oh, but in spite of us not being able to hate each other, we're going to come together and we're going to give you the best because you wanted the best, even though we can't freaking stand each other's guts. Or at least we can't stand 2 guys that's in the band that we already brought them back. So we see it as a cash cow opportunity to make a bunch of money off of our sheep fans. And that is, and I'm just preaching it how I see it. I'm just saying it how I see it. But that is I have such a problem with this song, and I always have, because of just the whole message behind it. Like I said, and it just bothers me that they do all this bitching and moaning and complaining and griping and airing out their dirty laundry on a song and all of a sudden, it's just like, you wanted the best and you got the best. And it's like, okay, well then, yeah, they're united. They're united, and oh man, it just drives me crazy. I can't stand the song. So this was an easy one for me. Hot and Cold almost wins for me by default, even though I do like Hot and Cold. It's my winner. What about for you?
Well, that concludes Brant's rant.
Rant over.
The more you know.
Right, exactly.
No, I mean, I can't say much more because I agree with you 100% on that. That's why I chose Hot and Cold for my pick. I mean, it's the same thing you said. It just, you wanted the best felt like a lie. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, and it was just everything you said. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I was laughing the whole time because it was like, I knew exactly what you were saying and where you were going, and I agree. That's why I picked Hot and Cold. I mean, I like Hot and Cold, but even if it was my least favorite song on Sonic Boom, it probably would have won by default, like you said, so that was mine there, so.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I stole your rant, but
no, it's fine. I was fine with sitting and listening.
All right, so that brings Psycho Circus up 6 to Sonic Boom 0.
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, Sonic Boom has yet to win. So that brings us to track number 7, Raise Your Glasses versus All for the Glory. So we have Paul versus Eric.
Yeah. I predicted, I mean, I don't know why I'm even saying my prediction more because they're always wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But I predicted Raise Your Glasses on this one.
Okay.
And I predicted that because I feel like in Monster and in Sonic Boom, the Eric songs are very forced. It's like shoehorned in generic rock songs for him to sing that would be Peter songs. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like I would rather Eric find his own personality and that be his songs rather than shoehorn in some very generic rock song for him to sing. And it's like, oh, that's a Peter track, give it to him kind of thing, because that's what it felt like on those last 2 albums. So for that reason, I said Raise Your Glasses, because I feel like that is a better song in my opinion. It is. So that was my prediction. But anyway, you go ahead.
All right. My prediction is Raise Your Glasses as well. Coming in at second, and this was actually one of the closer ones. I mean, Before, the loser's only gotten 10, 12, 14, 9, 16, 14. On this one, the loser gets 24.
Oh.
So this was actually only a 10-point separation. The loser was All for the Glory. The winner, Raise Your Glasses, with 34. My pick this was easy. Raise Your Glasses. I got in my notes, I'm not the biggest fan of this song, but I like it much better than All for the Glory. And the same reason that you said, the reason why you didn't like All for the Glory and you didn't think that fans would like it. I know some people love this song. I think this is one of the songs that Rick likes, but I'm the same as you. Exactly what you said. If they're going to let Tommy and Eric contribute and sing songs, let them, don't constrain them to the Spaceman, or Peter didn't sing Catman songs, but he sang a type of song, if you know what I'm talking about. He sang a type of song.
Yes.
And the song that is on Monster, All for the Love of Rock and Roll, and the song that's on Sonic Boom, All for the Glory, are those Peter types of songs.
They are.
And this is one of those songs, when I heard it, I remember when it started and Eric started singing, the thing that made me go, oh God, really? In the very opening line, he talks about his heart beating like a drum. Oh, he's a drummer and his heart beats like a drum. Oh, very good songwriting, Paul. So I was just like, really, guys, this is corny even for you. Okay. And just like, and I'm not ranting, I promise. This is a mini rant. But it's just like, I'm with you, dude. Let them have their own stinking personalities.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But they kind of sort of can't, because they're constrained to the makeup that they have them on.
Yeah.
But you know, Eric, I think as the drummer, even though they never really forced the Catman into the songs, you know, Ace did it on his own with the Spaceman. Ace always that was Ace doing that. Yeah. Peter, when he wrote songs or had other people write songs for him, he just always had a type of song. And instead of letting Eric have whatever kind of song he wanted, Paul wrote him a song that sounds like Peter should have sang. Yeah. Just like on, we'll get to that song here in a little bit, but Paul did the same thing for Peter. I wrote a song that Peter should have sound like Peter should have sang. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, my pick, Raise Your Glasses. I don't think it's a horrible song. It's actually one of my more liked Paul songs on the Sonic Boom album. So it's Raise Your Glasses for me.
Same here. Raise Your Glasses for me, for all the reasons I kind of hinted at and I said to you there. It's like, I mean, honestly, I think I would much rather not have Eric sing a song than give him something, you know, like this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, it's too forced in my opinion. It's everything that you were saying. It's just, you know, this is a type of song that he would have sang, we're giving it to you. And it's just like, that just rubs me the wrong way at that point. So, you know, but Raise Your Glasses is a good song. You know, I mean, I'm obviously in the minority here, but I like Sonic Boom and it impressed me a lot, you know? So, but I agree with a lot of what you said, you know, for all the same reasons.
All right. So that brings the total to Psycho Circus 7, Sonic Boom 0. So that brings us to number 8. That brings us to I Finally Found My Way off Psycho Circus versus Dangerous off of Sonic Boom. This is Peter and Paul versus Paul.
My prediction was Dangerous, and let's hope that I'm finally right.
My prediction was Dangerous as well. Back down to a low score for the loser, 13 points. The panel chose as the loser, I Finally Found My Way with 45 points. The panel chose Danger Us. Me, this was an easy one for me. I chose I Finally Found My Way.
Wow.
And I've got my notes. I don't get the hate for all this song. I actually love it. And the Paul and Peter together on that bridge is a magical moment. Dangerous is, to me, is not a horrible song. I actually really like it until they get to the actual, I even like the chorus, that two parts trouble and that repeat. This is a rock and roll over song, man. This song could have been on rock and roll over. But the title, Danger You, Danger Me, Danger Us, Dangerous. I mean, come on, man. That's like candy corn falling from the freaking ceiling. It's so corny. It's so cheesy. It's like at Olive Garden where he's just got the cheese grater out. He's just going and going and going and going at it. And it's just like, it is so cheesy. And I'm like, why did you ruin this? Ruin. That's how we say it in the South. Ruin.
It is. I knew what you're saying.
Why'd you ruin this song?
You ruined it, boy.
You ruined it. You ruined it. Why couldn't he just named it Dangerous? Why couldn't he named it Dangerous? Why did he have to do the play on Danger Us? Oh, God. Like I said, the title's corny. It kills it for me, but I love the rock and roll over sound. But for me, man, between these two, if somebody came up and said, you can listen to I Finally Found My Way or Dangerous, I'd be like, hit that Finally Found My Way. And I'd be sitting there. The only thing I don't like about Finally Found My Way, there's a couple things. One, it's a Paul song written for Peter, and you can tell it. You can tell. You can tell it is a Paul song that was written for Peter. But okay, I'm fine with that. I'll take it. I can't get a Black Diamond song or a Nothing to Lose song or Black Diamond out of Peter. But I really didn't want a Beth or a Hard Luck Woman. So I'll take I Finally Found My Way. I love the bridge when Paul and him sing together. That's amazing. That's a magical moment, like I said earlier. But he gets a little towards the end where he gets a little over embellished, like he's done on some of his solo albums, like, I'll let you go just long enough to lock that door. He just gets a little too,
Oh yeah.
And so usually when it gets past where it kind of slows down, and it's at the very end of it, to you, babe. It's like, to you, babe. It's like, oh my God.
All night long.
all night long. So I'm just like, oh God, you ruined it. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Ruined it.
You ruined it.
Well, yeah.
So Finally Found My Way for me. What about you?
I did pick Dangerous, and yes, I agreed with what you said. It is very cheesy with the name and everything, and it does feel like 70s Kiss. But I think that aspect of it, the name and the Danger You, Danger Us, and all that, kind of brings in some of that 80s Kiss in my opinion, and that's why I did like it a lot. Because I was first heard Kiss when I was pretty young, when they were on Fridays, performing music from the Elder. I was like 3 years old, and I got hooked on Kiss. But so I listened to a lot of 80s Kiss, and that has a little bit of an 80s feel to me. But the Finally Found My Way thing, I think what rubbed me wrong about that, and I know you said people have a lot of hate for it, and I can say what bothers me about it is it kind of felt like a little backhanded remark, or a backhanded kind of a song to Peter. Like, they're making him sing, and it kind of seems like he's like, okay, I'm admitting I'm wrong. These guys are right, Gene and Paul, and I found my way back to where I should be. And it seemed, that's what it felt like, which, I don't know. Maybe they're right or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But it seems like they were kind of like, well, you're going to sing this, and it's basically like your apology to us.
That was probably the exact thing that Paul was thinking about. And you're going to apologize. I'm going to make you apologize, and I'm going to put it in a song.
That's right. I'm going to root you, boy.
I'm going to root it for you.
But that's why I don't really care for it that much, because it feels like they were making him do that kind of thing. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what's in my head. So because that stuck in my head, I have a hard time enjoying
Yeah.
it. You know, it just feels like, you know, that whole thing I said. But
Well, Peter kind of did sing it begrudgingly. He
yeah,
wasn't. He was appreciative that he got a song on the album. Period. Um, but he actually brought some songs to the in to be put on the album and to be considered for it. And Bruce Fairbairn and Paul didn't like it, so he didn't make it on. So Paul
right.
wrote a song for him. Paul wrote his apology letter for
Yeah,
him.
exactly. Pretty much. Yeah.
All right, so finally, by default, just goes to show you how much you guys hate that song that y'all have Goose Egg, Sonic Boom, all the way down until it goes up against I Finally Found My Way. And so that brings us to Psycho Circus 7, Sonic Boom 1. All right. So, yeah, right. So number 9 is Dreamin' off of Psycho Circus versus I'm an Animal off of Sonic Boom. We have a Paul versus Gene.
Right. My prediction here was I'm an Animal, and I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll get into more of that when I have my explanation. But that was my prediction.
My prediction was Dreamin'. We'll talk more about it. The loser, and this was the closest. This was the closest. Yeah, it was closest. There was another close one, but this was the closest. The loser, 28 points, a 2-point difference. Dreamin'. The winner with 30 points, I'm an Animal. So Sonic Boom wins another one. And my personal pick, this was easy for me. I'm an Animal.
Yep.
My notes is, damn, this song kicks ass. Dreaming to me did not have a chance. Dreaming, the thing I can't get over with Dreaming is it's another one of those songs that sounds like it was manufactured. I like when Paul constructs a song, like I talked about in my Love Gun demo the other day, how he constructed that song and it flowed naturally. Dreaming, it sounds like, okay, I've got to make a song that is going to fit the aspect of the Psycho Circus, theme that we're doing. Yeah. But it sounds so much to me like, and I've got my notes that it sounds so much like I'm 18 by Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
That Alice Cooper's publisher, not Alice himself, but Alice Cooper's publisher actually sued Mercury Records, Paul Stanley, and co-writer Bruce Kulick in late 1998 over this song for copyright infringement, and the suit was settled out of court. And so it sounds a little bit too much like the beginning, and then whenever Paul starts singing, when he says "close your eyes and take a look at your life," it should be "lights fall on my face and hands."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like
yeah.
Instead of I'm 18, I'm only dreaming. I mean, It's like, come on, Paul. I mean, you're better than that.
Yeah.
Animal, I've got notes on this one. Gene borrowed a lot of lyrics from the song "Feels Like Heaven" that he had written and had that he had written for and had been recorded by Peter for his 1982 "Let Me Rock You" album. I'm an Animal is just, it's another Demon song, and just from the very beginning, it just kicks so much ass, and it has that Demon scream in it. I'm an Animal is just, it's freaking amazing. It is one of the best songs on Sonic Boom, and you're seeing that Gene is hands down my favorite performer, my favorite singer on Sonic Boom. But yeah, man, for me, I'm an Animal. Easy.
Yeah.
Dreaming didn't have a chance to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm an Animal is a great song, and I remember we were talking about this before when we did the other panel video, and I don't remember how it came up, but that's when we talked about the Muppets singing "I'm an Animal." And AJ Zentro sent me the video of Animal lip syncing to it, and I still have that saved on my phone, and it's great. But yeah, that is a tremendous song, a Major Demon song. I love it. It's a great track. But yeah, I totally agree with everything that you said. And the dreaming. It's weird because I guess I'm contradicting myself. I like Never Enough, even though it sounds like a Poison song, but I don't like Dreaming because it sounds like an Alice Cooper song. But
You have that right.
It's just like if I wasn't looking at at the song titles when that came on, I'm like, whoa, Kiss is covering Alice Cooper on this album? Like, what? That's weird. And then he starts singing. I'm like, wait a minute. It's everything about it is exactly. At least I guess Never Enough is a little bit different in some ways. But yeah, I totally can understand why Alice Cooper's manager, whatever, publicist sued. But so yeah, I'm the Animal is hands down the winner here in my book. So
all right, so that makes Sonic Boom has 2 now. So that's Psycho Circuit 7, Sonic Boom 2. That brings us to track number 10, and that is Journey of 1,000 Years off of Psycho Circus versus When Lightning Strikes off of Sonic Boom. So we have Gene versus Tommy.
I predicted Journey of 1,000 Years.
I predict Journey of 1,000 Years as well. And this is pretty definitive. Coming in at number 2 with 15 points, When Lightning Strikes. And with 43 points, the winner is Journey of 1,000 Years. For me, this one is easy because I'm not a big fan of one of these songs. So my pick for this, my personal pick for this track is When Lightning Strikes, believe it or not. I'm not a fan of Journey of 1,000 Years. I actually like When Lightning Strikes, even though it borrows heavily from AC/DC's Problem Child and Head East's Never Been Any Reason. And, well, of course, ripping off Ace's lyrical content and his vocal. He even sings like Ace, I'm going to shake you down. He's even singing like Ace, and the guitar styling is Ace, and it's
the voice inflection, all that
it's
stuff.
It's a total Ace ripoff. The solo's an Ace ripoff. But I just think Journey of 1,000 Years it's another one of those songs that I know a lot of people, they love Journey of 1,000 Years. They love how epic it is. And Ezra, it closed the original album before the bonus track, In Your Face, was added. And so it was one of those Bob Ezrin creations, and Bob Ezrin and Gene worked really heavily on that song. And there's a lot of things that's recycled from the beginning of the album before the song Psycho Circus starts. It's kind of reconstituted in the end, and it's kind of their day in the life closing of the album. But to me, it's just one of those songs. It's acoustic and got all this stuff in the background, and it's a Gene Simmons solo album song, which I don't have a problem with, but I'm just not a fan of it. And at least When Lightning Strikes kind of kicks ass, and it has that little in it, that little riff. It kind of sounds like it could have come off of Rock and Roll Over. That he does and everything. So it's just I like When Lightning Strikes. I like it a lot better than I like Journey of 1,000 Years. So what about you?
Both of these songs, in my opinion, are kind of neck and neck. But I did pick Journey of 1,000 Years over it just because it did, like you said, it did have that remind me of like Gene's solo stuff a little bit, like his solo album. Mm-hmm. But and I think, excuse me, man, I'm sorry, my voice. I think that the When Lightning Strikes did, for the same reason, with the Eric song, it just was trying too hard to be an Ace song, and that's why I knocked it down a little bit. It wasn't a bad song, and it does sound a lot like Never Been Any Reason by Head East. Lot. I hear a lot of that in it. But I think the nostalgia aspect of me loving Gene's solo album kind of swayed my decision, because that Journey of 1,000 Years definitely sounds like it could be on that album. So that's what I picked, Journey of 1,000 Years.
Okay. All right. So that brings Psycho Circus to 8, Sonic Boom to 2. So that brings us to track 11. That brings us to the bonus track on Psycho Circus, In Your Face, a track that wasn't originally there, and versus the final track on Sonic Boom, Say Yeah. So what's your prediction? It's Ace versus Paul.
I predicted Ace here was the victor, so that was my prediction. Ace is
okay. Okay, I predicted In Your Face as well. Just because it's Ace, and it's hard to go against Ace. So, especially with fans. So with this was actually the second closest. There was only 4 points difference in this. Number 26, the loser, In Your Face. Say Yeah won with 32 points. So In Your Face, In Your Face. That brings the total Psycho Circus 8, Sonic Boom 3. My pick for this was easy. It was In Your Face. I'm not, just like I'm not a fan of Dreaming, I'm not a fan of Say Yeah either. And they're both kind of the same tune for me. And this is one that they have really started playing. And Paul talks about that fans, the reason why they don't record a lot of new songs is because with whenever the new material comes on, fans go to the bathroom. And I have to say that I don't entirely agree with that, because I think it depends on what the new song is. Like if the new song was Within, or if the newer song was I'm an Animal, or if the new song was even if the new song was Nobody's Perfect, or I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll, or Never Enough, I wouldn't go to the bathroom during those songs. But if I ever make it to a Kiss End of the Road concert, which I don't think I'm going to by this time, but when Say Yeah come on, man, bathroom. I don't like the song. I don't want to go through the whole thing of him having me say yeah and get me to say yeah and doing the crowd interaction and everything. I don't care for it. They're basically, like I said, they're basically the same song to me. And In Your Face is an okay song. It's not the best Ace song. And it's not really an Ace song. Gene wrote this song for Ace. So it's okay. It rocks and everything. But in a way, the way it's presented on as the bonus track on Psycho Circus, it doesn't really sound like it was completed or that it wasn't worked on very much. It doesn't sound, if you listen to In Your Face and then jump over and listen to Into the Void is a lot more finished, a lot more polished, a lot more produced. You jump over to In Your Face, it almost sounds like a beefed up demo. So which is what I think it actually, since it wasn't really seriously considered for the album, is in all effects and purposes is what it is. But I still choose In Your Face over Say Yeah, because I don't like Say Yeah.
Well, I did choose Say Yeah, and I do agree with a lot of what you said. I feel like I didn't choose In Your Face for some of the reasons you were just pointing out. Like it feels demo-ish. It doesn't feel completed. It could be a really, really good Ace song, but it's not there yet because it's like it was just kind of thrown in at the last minute. They weren't done with it. But I do like that they use Say Yeah, and I like the fan interaction with that in concert when they play it and everything. And that is why I inched it a little bit higher. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's not by far not the worst. But I feel like it was just a little bit better than In Your Face. So that's why I went with that one.
All right. So that finishes that one out with Psycho Circus winning 8-3 over Sonic Boom. So before we move on to the next matchup, which is your favorite album cover? Do you like this one better, which kind of in a way is kind of Rock and Roll Over? I think it's designed by the same person
It was
that did
yeah.
Rock and Roll Over. Yeah. So it has that Rock and Roll Over feel, even though they're in a square and not a circle. Or do you like the Psycho Circus album cover better?
I'm going with the Sonic Boom album cover. It does have that throwback feel to Rock and Roll Over, like you said, and I like that aesthetic, you know. the Psycho Circus, nothing wrong with it. I feel like it's a little, I don't know. It definitely seems like a product of its time. The artwork on it feels very late 90s ish, like kind of very early rough digital artwork. Like in its infancy, kind of thing. So Sonic Boom, better artwork in my opinion.
All right. And I guess just because this one's been with me longer, I like Sonic Boom. I like the packaging of not Sonic Boom, Psycho Circus. I like the packaging of it. I like if you happen to get the album that does that. That's really cool. And I just like the way, they got the band on the back. And like I said, I just wish that these actual two members would have had a little bit more input and actually been on the album more, rather than just being a product of Gene and Paul, and Bruce Fairborn, and with Peter and Ace dabbled in little by little everywhere. Okay, so that finishes that up. That brings us to the next track versus track. I'm trying to get it down here without it being seen. The next track versus track that we're going to have, this is a 12 tracker, 12 tracks. And I'm going to, I have one on CD and I have the other one on album. I think this is going to be good. I think that it may possibly be a landslide, kind of like what we just experienced, just because of almost the same reason, if that gives you a hint. And I'll give you another hint. There are 12 tracks. One of the tracks is an instrumental on one. So, but this is what we're going to be doing, kiddos. We're going to be doing Revenge. 12 tracks. The 12th track being Car Jam. Versus Monster.
Okay.
12 tracks on each album. And I feel like this may possibly be a landslide again. But we will see what happens, and we'll have fun talking about it afterwards. So that's all I've got for this one. Thanks, Matthew, for hanging out with me.
Hey, thank you very much for having me back. Finally, I know it's been a long time, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have you again in the future on some other videos too. Be sure to check out Matthew's Instagram. It's mdsmithcomics, and your comic book company is called Saturday Comics, right?
Yeah, we just put out the I got a copy right here, the 3rd issue of our horror comic magazine, Blood Drenched Creature double feature. Just came out. It's like part comic book anthology, part horror magazine, flip book style. So it's got 2 covers and interviews with people in the horror community and comics in it and stuff. The 3rd issue just came out. We're working on the 4th one right now.
Awesome. So if you like horror comics and stuff like that, be sure to definitely check him out, MD Smith Comics on Instagram. And man, I appreciate the stuff you sent me. I appreciate the swag stickers and the trading cards, and definitely appreciate the shirt.
Oh yeah,
and I appreciate that so much. All right, guys, that's all I've got. We'll have Matthew back in another video in the future. And I'm Brand Within My Head. He is Matthew Smith. And we will see you in the next one. Take care.
Later.
That brings us to track 8. I finally found my way off of Sonic Boom versus Dangerous off of... did I say Psycho? What did I say? Sonic Boom? I think I said wrong.
Yeah.
Let's reset. Let's reset.